All right, so let's clear up our mats. And then you can stand up towards the top edge of your mat. And we will place our feet about hip width apart. You can have a peek down at your feet. Sort of spread out through your toes. Make sure your feet are parallel. And then balance your weight evenly between your left foot and your right foot. Once you find that balance, I want you to make sure that you have a micro bend in your knees. We're going to extend the crown of the head and the sternum up towards the ceiling. Let's draw the shoulders right up to the ears and then roll them back and down and just let your arms relax alongside your body. Soften your fingers. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. As you invite your attention into your body, just start to notice how it feels to stand here today. Feeling the connection of the soles of the feet on the mat. Noticing if your body feels very steady or if you feel maybe a little bit of movement or swaying happening. Continuing to press down evenly through the soles of the feet, keeping that softness in the knees as you lengthen your spine. Visualizing your ribcage here, I want you to start to deepen your breath and think of your ribs expanding in all directions as you inhale through your nose. And then let your ribs soften as you exhale through your nose. A few more big, expansive breaths like that. You're breathing into the front, the back, and the sides of the rib cage. And I want you to walk your feet a little bit wider than your hips. You can start with your toes pointing forward or maybe turned out just slightly. And I want you to make sure you have some space around your body. So enough space that your arms can go side to side and you're not going to hit anything with your hands. And we're going to start to just warm up a little through the spine. Okay, so I want you to start to twist slowly side to side. And as your hands go in one direction, you can let your opposite heel lift. And if it feels good, look over your shoulder. I'm just going to go side to side at whatever pace feels good for your body. Just letting the arms be super relaxed. Let your breath flow steadily. Starting to twist through the spine. Build up a little more energy. As you inhale, I want you to slow down and come back to the center. And let's walk our feet back into about hip width apart, parallel. And let's take a nice deep breath in, sweeping the arms up over the head. And then contracting through your core as you exhale, lower your right palm down against your right thigh and bend to the right. And then you just let your shoulders settle away from your ears and adjust your gaze if you need to so your neck feels comfy. You still try to balance your weight evenly between each of your feet. Contracting through your core, you're going to inhale all the way through the center. Left arm lowers, right palm reaches up, shoulders are relaxed. And as you exhale, we'll bend to the left. You're engaging through your core. Let's inhale back to the middle. As you breathe out, you can relax your arm down. Big circle of the shoulders. And taking a little micro bend in your knees, arms relaxed. Breathe in, lift up through your chest. And contract through your core. Breathe out, take your chin forward and slowly roll down to a forward fold. The option of walking your hands down your legs if that feels safer for your spine today. Or deepening the bend in your knees. You're just going to hang out here for a few breaths, letting the arms and the head dangle. If your neck is holding on to any tension, you're welcome to gently nod your head yes and no. Pressing down through the soles of the feet, chin to chest, engage your core. We'll inhale and roll ourselves back up. With your head lifted up, you can roll your shoulders back. And then we're going to take a nice deep breath in, sweeping the arms up over the head, place the palms together, a little bend in your knees as you engage your core. Let's exhale and fold all the way forward. From here, I want you to inhale, hands to your lower back, interlace your fingers. Stay here or exhale and extend your arms. And hold for a big breath in. Nice long exhale, relaxing your arms all the way down in front of you. Pressing through the soles of the feet, engage the core. As you inhale, reach your arms wide. Let's stretch yourselves all the way forward and up, taking the palms up, touch the hands together. And then exhale the palms to the heart. And do that again. Big inhale, reaching up. Engage your core, exhale and fold forward. Inhaling, hands to the low back, fingers interlace. And you can stay here or exhale, take yoga mudra. Wherever you're at, hold for a big breath in. Breathing out, release your arms all the way down. Contract your abdominal muscles, arms go wide, take your chest forward and up as you inhale. Exhale, palms to the chest. And one more time, breathing in, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands to the low back. Exhale, stay there or extend your arms. Hold for a deep breath in. Exhale to release. Engage your core. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale, palms to the heart. And pausing here, deepen your breath. Contract your abdominal muscles. As you inhale, lift your right knee up in front of you. And slow and controlled, as you exhale, take a big step back with your right foot. Touching your heel down, let's turn to the right. We're going to turn both feet out slightly. I want you to make sure that you have your heels on the same line and your feet are about one leg length apart. And then placing your palms together in front of your chest, we're going to bend the knees and sink into goddess pose. So you'll lift your chest up towards your thumbs, open your knees out towards your pinky toes. Okay, soften your lower jaw as you deepen your breathing. And pressing through the soles of the feet as you inhale, extend your legs. As you exhale, I want you to turn your right toes in slightly and point your left toes out 90 degrees. And let's make sure the left heel lines up with the arch of the right foot. And then pressing down into the ball of your left foot, breathe in and extend your arms up from your shoulders. Engaging your core as you exhale, stretch out over your left thigh. Let's come into triangle pose. The option to take your right hand onto your hip if that feels better for your shoulder. You're always welcome to adjust your gaze. Keep the core engaged as you breathe deeply into the sides of the torso. Engaging through your core, inhale, draw yourself all the way up. As you exhale, bend your left knee over your ankle and then stretch out over your left thigh. Touch your elbow down lightly there. Your right arm can go straight up alongside your ear, or you can take your right hand back onto your hip. So do what feels okay for your shoulder. Keeping your left knee over your ankle, let your hips get heavy. And then continue to open your left knee towards your pinky toe as you draw your right shoulder back, revolving your chest open towards the ceiling. Looking down as you exhale, let's lower our hands down to the mat, lifting up through your right heel. You can keep your right knee lifted or lower your right knee to the floor. Placing your right hand under your shoulder, feel free to add some support underneath that palm if that gives you a little more space. Let's inhale, opening the left arm, twisting towards the left thigh. Now I want you to make sure that your left knee stays right over top of your ankle. You can always take your left hand onto your hip too, if that feels nicer. If your back knee is lifted, I want you to engage your right leg muscles. Reach your heel back away from you. Taking your gaze down as you exhale, lower your palm. Placing both hands on the floor, spread your fingers nice and wide and engage your core. As you inhale, step your left foot back to downward dog. You're placing your feet hip width apart and parallel. Lift up through your tailbone. You always have the option of coming down to child's pose right away, so please listen to your wrists, your shoulders, and your breath. If you're in your down dog, each time you inhale, you'll lift your hips up a little higher. And as you exhale, let your chest sink a little, lengthen through your spine. From downward dog, engage your core. As you inhale, lift your heels up high, shifting more weight into your palms. As you exhale, lightly touch your knees to the mat. Rest the tops of the feet on the floor, big toes touching, and take your tailbone to your heels. And coming into child's pose, let your forehead be heavy. You can always rest your shoulders by stacking your hands under your forehead or taking your palms back beside your feet. And I want you to breathe into your abdomen and your lower back. From here, using your hands to support you, engage your core as you inhale. I want you to roll yourself up onto your heels. And then we're going to lift our seat away from our heels and come to kneeling with the knees about hip width apart. From here, you're welcome to keep your hands onto your hips, or if you want a little extra support, you can take your hands in front of you onto some blocks or books or soup tins. And we're just going to extend our right leg out to the side so that our right leg, or our right foot rather, is in line with our left knee. Okay, and then I want you to draw yourself up nice and tall. And ideally, we have our left hip stacked over top of that knee, and we're sinking down through the outside edge of the right foot. The right toes are pointing in the same direction that you're facing. From here, rest your right hand on your right leg, and then engage your core. Inhale, extend your left arm up. As you exhale, let's bend to the right, making sure that our right hand rests either above our knee or below it, but not pressing onto that joint. You contract your abdominal muscles. As you inhale, we're going to draw ourselves out, taking the arms out in a T. I want you to look down to the floor on your left side. You have the option of taking some support underneath your left hand. We're going to lower our left palm down to some support or the floor so that we come into a little supported side plank. That right hand can extend up or rest on your hip. Then you can take your gaze wherever your neck feels comfy, trying to align your left wrist underneath your left shoulder. And then if your breath is super steady here, you want to deepen this, you're welcome to engage your core as you inhale, lift your right foot off the floor, reaching your right heel away from you. With a breath out, let's touch our right foot down. Gazing down at the floor, we're going to slowly lower ourselves down and come back to child's pose. So drawing that right knee in, folding the torso over the thighs, let your forehead be heavy. Couple of nice deep breaths here, expanding through the low back. And as you breathe in, let's extend our palms forward, look up to the top of the mat, and come onto the belly. Stretching your legs back behind you, tops of the feet on the floor. Place your hands under your shoulders and touch your forehead down. Tops of the feet stay heavy. Contract your core. Inhale, reach your head and chest forward and up into cobra. Let's hug our elbows in. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. We're going to hold here, so lift only as high as feels safe for your spine. Come down anytime you need to. You take your gaze up if that feels good, softening your lower jaw. And with an exhale, let's lower the chest and the head. Pressing down into the palms, engage your core. Inhale, coming up to your hands and your knees. As you exhale, you can take child's pose or down dog. Let's all meet in downward dog. Contract your abdominal muscles, keeping your hips squared. As you inhale, lift your right heel towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, step your right foot up between your hands. Align your right knee over your ankle. Let's lower the left heel down, left toes turned in deeply. And with your palms on your hips, breathe in, reach your chest forward and up. Coming into warrior one. So left heel is pressing down into the floor, torso squared towards the top of the mat. Try to lengthen up through your spine. And then you can stay here or breathe in and extend your arms overhead. Your arms are up overhead. Touch your palms together as you exhale. Draw your hands down to your chest. If you have any support nearby, we're going to lengthen our front leg, and you can frame your right foot with blocks or books or whatever you have to support you. And I want you to square your hips towards the top of your mat. So if you need to, walk your back foot in a little closer. Pivot your hips around to face forward. And then pressing into the ball of your right foot. Big breath in. Lift your chest up. Hands on hips. You can engage your core. Spine stays long. As you exhale, slowly fold forward. And you can take your palms or your hands wherever you feel supported. You're welcome to relax your head forward, soften your neck. Make sure you have a micro bend in your right knee. Keep drawing your right hip back and your left hip forward. Engaging through your core, moving your blocks off to the side. Taking your hands onto your hips. Let's inhale the chest forward and up. And as you exhale, I want you to take a little bend into your front knee. Fix your gaze on one spot out in front of you. With a nice big breath in, lift your back heel. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Let's float our left knee up in front of us. Flex your left ankle. Stretch the crown of your head up. Find your breath. You can stay here, or one option, left hand onto the left knee. Trying to keep your right hip where it is. We're going to let our left knee open to the side. So we're trying not to turn our whole body to the left. Just let that left leg open. Another option would be first two fingers around your left big toe. Keeping your chest lifted, shoulders back. If that feels good, you could extend your left leg. Whatever you're doing, I want you to breathe as you do it. Take a break whenever you need to. Lifting up through the crown of your head. And with an exhale, let's slowly lower our left foot back down to the floor. Have a little wiggle, let go of tension in the body. And then come back to mountain pose. Slow down your breathing. Take a deep breath in, sweeping your arms up over your head. Place your palms together and engage your core. Exhale, fold forward. Keep your core turned on as you inhale, hands to shins or thighs. Lift up halfway. Exhale and fold. Big breath in, arms go wide. Reach your chest forward and up. Exhale, palms to the chest. Draw your navel towards your spine. Inhale, lift your left knee up in front of you. Slow and controlled as you exhale. Big step back with your left foot. Left heel touches down. Let's turn to the left. We're going to turn both feet out slightly. And I want you to make sure your heels are on the same line. Feet are nice and wide apart. And then as you exhale, you're going to bend into the knees, open the knees towards the pinky toes, keep lifting up through your chest, draw your navel in, front ribs hug towards back ribs. Okay, stay here, inhale, come to cactus arms, elbows in line with the shoulders, soften your facial muscles. If you feel real steady here, try closing your eyes. If you're in cactus arms, as you exhale, touch your palms together in front of your chest. Let's take a breath in and extend the legs. Turn your left toes in slightly, right toes out 90 degrees. Find that heel to arch alignment. And then press into the ball of your right foot. Contract your core as you inhale, arms stretch out from the shoulders. Okay, breathing out, stretching out over your right thigh, coming into triangle pose. Left hand can come to the hip if that feels better. You notice how your breath feels here. Keep lengthening through both sides of the torso. Contract your abdominal muscles. Inhale, slowly draw up. Arms out from your shoulders. Exhale, right knee over the ankle. Keep pressing down through the outside edge of your left foot. And then rest your right elbow light onto your thigh. Left arm can go up, beside your ear, hand to hip, whatever feels good for your body. And give your chest opening towards the ceiling, but make sure that you keep drawing your right knee towards your right pinky toe. And you're looking down at the floor. As you exhale, lower your hands to the mat, lift your left heel up. You have the option of keeping your back knee lifted or touching it down, adding extra cushioning if that feels better. Left hand underneath the left shoulder, add support under that palm if you need to, and then inhale, open your right arm. Your right hand can rest on hip. We're going to make sure that we're hugging our right thigh in towards us, knee over ankle. And if your back knee is lifted, you're pressing your left heel away from you. Breathing out, lower your palm. Both hands to the mat, fingers spread wide, engage your core. Inhale, right foot steps back to down dog, or you can take child's pose. Notice your breathing. From downward dog, engage your core. We'll inhale, heels lift high, shift weight into your hands. As you exhale, knees lightly touch to the floor, come back to child's pose. Hands supporting you, engage your core as you inhale, roll yourself up onto your heels, and then lift your seat away from your heels and come to kneeling. Okay, you have the option of steadying yourself by placing your hands on support out in front of you, or coming from hands on hips to work a little more on that core strength and balance. We're going to take an inhale and stretch our left leg out to the side. Left foot and right knee are in a line. Okay, drawing yourself up tall, make sure right hip is over top of the right knee. So sink into the outside edge of the left foot, take your left hand onto your left leg. I want you to press your hip bones forward a little bit. Keep the front of the pelvis open. And then breathe in, reach your right arm up. Engage your core, breathe out, side bend to the left. Be careful with the placement of that left hand. Be nice to your knee. And breathe into the right side of your body. Contract your abdominal muscles. Inhale, drawing yourself back up, arms out in a T. I want you to look down at the floor on your right side. Remember that you can add height underneath your right hand. We're going to carefully lower our right palm down, right wrist underneath the shoulder. Left arm can stretch up or left hand to hip. Okay, first option is to stay here with the outside edge of your left foot still pressing down into the floor. If your breath feels good here, you're going to engage your core. Inhale, lift that left foot up. Press your heel away from you. Here too, we're making sure that we're not sitting back towards that right heel. Press your hip bones forward. And breathing out, we'll touch our foot down, gazing down. I want you to slowly come back to child's pose. You're going to draw your left knee in, folding over the thighs. Slow down your breath. Big breath in, arms reach forward, look forward, come onto the belly. Tops of the feet heavy on the floor, about hip width apart, hands under the shoulders, lengthen the back of the neck. Using your core, inhale, head and chest forward and up, just to the place where you can comfortably hold. Draw your shoulders down, hug your elbows in, keep lifting up through your sternum. And come out of this anytime you need to. Tops of the feet are heavy on the floor. Your elbows should not be locked here. You're going to exhale to lower. Engaging your abdominal muscles. Inhale to all fours. Exhale to child's pose or down dog. All meet in downward dog. Contract your abdominal muscles, hips stay squared towards the mat. Inhale, lift your left heel towards the ceiling. Exhale, your left foot up between your hands, helping it forward till your knee is over your ankle. Okay. Right heel touches down to the floor, right toes turned in deeply. And then palms on hips. So inhale, rising up to warrior one. Square your torso to the top of your mat. Ground down through your back heel. And you can stay here, breathe in, reach your arms overhead. You're welcome to close your eyes if your breath is steady, body feels steady. Arms overhead, touch your palms together, exhale the hands down to the chest. You're welcome to frame your front foot with some blocks or books. We're going to extend our front leg and maybe shorten our stance a little so that we can really pivot our hips around to square to the top of the mat. With your palms and your hips, start with a nice deep breath in. With your core engaged, you can exhale, carefully come forward. Keep squaring your hips forward. Take your hands where your body feels supported. Make sure you're not locking your front knee. If your back heel lifts, you can always bring your feet a little closer together. Contract your core, moving your support off to the side. Take your hands into your hips as you inhale. Carefully draw yourself all the way up. As you exhale, bending into your left knee, fix your gaze on one spot out in front of you that isn't moving. And as you inhale, lift your back heel, shift your weight to your front foot. We're going to lift our right knee up in front of us. Okay, option one, stay here. Option two, right hand onto that knee. Try to keep the rest of your body facing forward. As you exhale, just open your knee to the right. So we're not turning the whole body in that direction, just the knees opening. Lift the crown of the head up. Stay here, or first two fingers to the big toe. Draw the shoulders back, lift the chest. Stay there, or maybe extend your leg. Your breath is the most important thing here, though. So whatever you're doing, keep breathing. Keep lengthening up through your spine. Now let's take an exhale, slowly lowering your right foot back down to the floor. Give your body a good shake, let go of tension. And then come back to mountain pose. Slow down your breath. Contract your core. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Nice big breath in, hands to shins or thighs. Lift up halfway. And then exhale and fold forward. We're going to hang out here. Let the upper body dangle. Or maybe hold your elbows. You could return to yoga mudra if that feels good. Fingers interlace, arms extend. Feel free to bend your knees more deeply if that's nicer to your lower back. Take a breath out, releasing your arms all the way down in front of you. Fingertips touch down to the floor. You may come straight down to sitting, or walk your feet wider than your hips, turn your heels in slightly, and lower down into a squat. If you're in your squat, make sure your heels are supported, whether that's by the floor or a cushion or a folded up blanket. And then start to lengthen your spine and make sure that your knees and your toes are pointing in the same direction. The option, touch your palms together. Let's all take some nice deep breaths into the lower back. And hands supporting you. Carefully make your way all the way down to sitting. And stretch your legs forward. Give them a little shake. And then I want you to bend your knees. Take your feet on the floor about hip width apart. Reach your hands behind your thighs. Okay, we're going to take a deep breath in. Lift the chest up. As you breathe out, little curl of your spine, not much. Just a little sense that your bottom ribs and your hip bones are getting closer together as you draw your navel back towards your spine and then up, as if it's tucking into your rib cage. As you inhale, you can float one foot off the floor or both feet off the floor, balancing on your sits bones. Sternum lifts, shoulders are down. Heels start low so that we tap into our core rather than relying on our hips to do all the support here. And if you feel your core working, not your hips, then maybe you inhale, lift your heels. If you still feel your core working, not your hips, then maybe you hover your arms. You can come out of this anytime you need to. Inhale, hands behind the thighs. Exhale, feet to the mat. Let's around the back, chin towards the chest. Couple breaths here. Take a breath in, sitting all the way up. Let's touch the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall to the sides. Sliding your heels forward in front of you. Make a big diamond shape with your legs. And then resting your hands onto your knees or your shins. Breathe in. Lift up through your chest. Move your core engaged. Exhale. Take your torso forward. Your back and around when that feels good for your body. Soften your neck. Think of each inhalation expanding your lower back. Your chin towards your chest, engage your abdominal muscles. As you inhale, roll yourself back upright. As you breathe out, roll your shoulders back. And let's make our way back onto our hands and our knees. I want you to plant your wrists slightly ahead of your shoulders, tuck through your toes and engage your core. And when you're ready, on an inhale, take yourself back to downward dog. And engaging through your core, big breath in, step your right foot forward. We're going to come into a low lunge. So as you exhale, right knee over the ankle, left knee down to the floor, cushioning that knee if you need to. You can stay here or hands to your front thigh. Inhale, lift your chest up. Try to lengthen your low back here. Lift your sternum. Think of the tailbone gently drawing down towards the earth. Hug your navel in. You can stay here today, or right hand onto the right hip. We'll inhale the left arm up. As you exhale, little side bend to the right. We're going to press our left hip bone forward so you get lots of length down the front of the hip and the front of the thigh. And show me breathe out. Keep letting the pelvis get heavy. Soften your shoulders. Engage your core. Big breath in. You can stretch both arms up. Come back to the center. Exhale, palms to the earth. I'm going to give you a couple options here. Engaging through your core. Inhale, lift your back knee. Option 1, step back to down dog. Option 2, take 3-legged down dog, sweeping your right leg back and up behind you. Bend your knee and stack your hips. Your child's pose is there for you too, so please listen to your body. And from down dog or 3-legged downward dog, we're going to take a nice big breath in, draw the right knee forward to the floor behind the right wrist, and come to pigeon pose. Okay, so I want your weight to stay centered here. If you need to, tuck a block underneath your right glute as you square your hips forward. Make sure that left leg is stretched straight back behind you, unless you're choosing to bend both of your knees at 90 degrees instead. If that feels safer for your front knee, take that option. Let's all start with a nice big breath in and lift the sternum up towards the sky. As you breathe out, just let your hips get heavier. You want your pelvis to be sinking towards the earth. Soft shoulders, soft lower jaw. And once the pelvis feels nice and heavy, you can stay exactly where you are, or as you exhale, start to take your chest forward, but make sure you're not rounding your back here. Keep reaching your sternum forward. Support your elbows with a block or the floor, and keep your weight centered. You should feel like most of the weight, the sinking, is happening through the hips. Try to stay fairly light through the upper body, light through the elbows if they're supporting you. Soft through your shoulders and your neck. Placing your palms onto the floor. Let's breathe in. Lift up through the chest. Fingers spread wide. Engage your core. Tucking your back toes under. Lift your back knee. Inhale back to down dog or child's pose if you prefer. From downward dog, engage your core. We're going to inhale. Left foot steps up between the hands. Left knee over the ankle. Exhaling the right knee down to the earth. Hips are squared forward. You can stay here, hands on some blocks or the floor, or take your hands to your front thigh, lift up through your chest. Keep drawing your navel in, lengthen up through the spine. You can stay here or left hand to the left hip. We'll inhale the right arm up. As you exhale, side bend to the left. Try not to lean out over your front thigh as you side bend. Keep your ribs back over your pelvis. Press your right hip bone forward. Contracting through your core. We'll inhale, both arms up, facing forward. Exhale, palms to the earth. Remember your options here. As you inhale, you can take down dog or sweep your left foot all the way back and up behind you. Bend your knees, stack your hips for three-legged downward dog. Think of your left knee pointing up towards the ceiling, equal weight in your hands. Still sinking back through your right heel. Next time you breathe in, let's all take our left knee forward to the floor behind our left wrist, coming back into pigeon pose. Remembering you can support that left glute if that helps you center your weight. There shouldn't be any pain in your front knee here. If you need to, bend both knees at 90 degrees. Okay, let's all take a nice big breath in. Lift up through the chest. We're going to keep our chest lifted here for a bit. As you exhale, just let your hips get heavy. So we're lengthening through the abdomen, opening up more through the front of the right hip. The pelvis sink towards the floor. And then once you feel that heaviness through the hips, if it feels good, you can slowly walk your chest forward without losing the length in your spine. You pause on the mat as you inhale, lift up through your chest. From here, with your hands shoulder width apart, we'll tuck the back toes, engage the core, inhale to downward dog. And from your downward dog, I want you to breathe in and carefully walk your feet forward towards your palms, coming into a forward fold. You bend your knees as much as you need to make that transition. Take your feet hip width apart, let your upper body dangle. Contracting through your core, hands onto your shins or your thighs. Let's inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. Keep your hands on the floor to support you. Again, you can come straight down to sitting, or you can return to a squat. Whichever shape you choose to take, I want you to focus in on your breath. In support of your palms, let's all come all the way down onto the mat, stretching the legs forward. You can roll your ankles, shake out your legs. And starting with your legs about hip width apart, flex your ankles. Bend your right knee and step your right foot to the outside of your left shin. With your hands on your right knee, I want you to rock side to side so you feel like you're planted down evenly through your sits bones. Keep pointing your left toes up towards the ceiling. And then facing forward, breathe in, lift up through the crown of your head. Let's sweep our right hand to the floor behind us to support our spine to stay nice and tall. And then inhale, press the left palm up towards the ceiling. Okay, one option here as you exhale is to draw your elbow over your knee and gently twist to the right. Another option is just to wrap your arm around that knee if that feels safer for your lower back. You're still evenly planted through both of your sits bones. Keep sinking down as you lift up through the crown. And then use your breath, make more space around the rib cage. As you exhale, come back to the center. We're going to stretch our right leg forward, feet about hip width apart. And then bending the left knee, left foot to the outside of the right shin. Hands on your knee. Have that little rock side to side again. Balance your weight here and lift yourself up. We're going to support our spine by taking our left hand to the floor behind us, nice and close to the body. Okay, facing forward still. Breathe in. Reach your right hand towards the sky. Get even taller. One option as you exhale is to draw your elbow over your knee, twisting to the left, or wrapping your arm around your leg if that feels nicer for your body. Think of that stacking of your head, your ribs, and your pelvis as you twist your spine. Slow, deep breaths. Each time you inhale, sitting up a little bit taller. Breathing out, we'll unwind and come back to the center, stretching both legs out in front of you, giving them a shake. And then maybe sitting up on a bit of height here, right on the edge of a block, or folded a blanket or a pillow. We'll keep the legs hip width apart, ankles flexed. And then interlock the thumbs and engage through the core. If you feel like your back is rounding here, sit on a little more height, or add a little bit of a bend into the knees. So you can lift up through your chest. And then let's inhale, take the arms up. Keep your core engaged and exhale forward. Hands touch down on your legs or on the floor on either side. We have a deep bend in the elbows and soften through your neck. Wherever you feel tension, take your breath there. One more really long breath out. With your hands and your core supporting you, inhale. Carefully roll yourself up. As you exhale, roll your shoulders. And from here, anything you're sitting on, you can move off to the side. I want you to grab any sweaters or socks that you need or a sip of water. And then you can come down onto your back for a relaxation. Coming down onto your back. Depending on how your lower back feels, you could take your legs long with your feet wide apart. But if that doesn't feel comfy for you today, you're welcome to add support behind your knees or to lay on one side. And the palms can rest onto the belly, or the arms can go wide with the palms of the hands facing up towards the ceiling. Lengthen through the back of the neck by gently drawing the chin towards the chest. And then close your eyes or soften your gaze. With your next few exhalations, let your body soften and grow heavy. Allow yourself to be fully supported by the floor beneath you. Letting your breath flow effortlessly in and out. Enjoying this time to rest. And turning your attention to your breath. Noticing the sensations occurring in your body. Bringing in whatever gentle movement feels good for your body. And let those movements grow into a stretch or a hug of the knees into the chest. And then carefully roll over to one side and gently make your way up to a comfortable seated position. Once you're comfy in your seat, draw your attention into your body. Take a big, full, nourishing inhale. No long, steady exhale. Thank you for sharing your time with me this morning. Have a fantastic day, everybody.